Hey everybody, this is Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and today we have a very special, near to my heart show right now. This is actually friends of mine who are on the front line of the fight against COVID-19, the coronavirus. We're joined today by my good friend, Ryan. Ryan is a firefighter paramedic down in Florida and a very close friend of mine. I actually had the honor of being best man at Ryan's wedding last year. So was that last year, 2 years ago? Anyway, it was
Years ago.
really
Yeah.
soon. It was very close, like just happened.
Very recent.
Yeah, and but no, Ryan, thanks for joining the show today.
No problem. Happy to be here.
You may have seen Ryan's comments and stuff on other shows. If you're watching right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk to Ryan just about like what it's like to be on the front lines, what he's seeing as a paramedic who's going out and being a first responder. We're also going to hopefully be joined a little later by a nurse also who's actively working in a hospital with COVID-19 patients. This is also an opportunity for you to ask questions, right? Because we see a lot of crazy stuff out there on Facebook, and some of it's misinformation, some of it's true information. So I'm going to ask Ryan some of these questions that I see out there and ask him to kind of dive in. Ryan is called the Dr. Fauci of Florida. I don't know if you've heard this term much thrown about, Ryan. I mean, is that something you hear a lot, Ryan?
Thankfully, no. I've taken it upon myself to educate myself and keep my own family safe. But in doing that, I think I can help answer people's questions and help them do the same thing. Ultimately, keep themselves safe, keep their families safe. A lot of people have a lot of questions about how do you get it, what do you do to prevent it, what do you need to wear when you're going out of the house. There's all sorts of things that we'll probably talk about. So
Yeah. So if you're watching this right now, if you're on LinkedIn, please check in, drop a comment, let us know where you're watching, let us know what company you're with. I want to give you a shout out. If you're on Facebook right now, drop a comment in there. Give a shout out to a first responder, maybe in your family or in your friend group. I mean, these truly are heroes. I believe a hero is anybody that puts someone else's needs, someone else's life and health above their own. And in my opinion, Ryan, what you do, what Chemaine Hamelin does, who hopefully will be able to join us in a bit. Some of my neighbors who are nurses. I can't thank y'all enough.
uh-oh. Ben froze.
Ryan, I'm back. You got me?
Yeah. Yes, I got you.
I've been telling everybody that's been watching this knows my computer's got the COVID. It flakes out of me sometimes. I think somebody might be sending me a Wi-Fi extender right now. So I'm trying. All right. So Ryan, if I cut out on you, just start saying some really smart stuff about the virus or telling firefighter jokes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Um, so first,
I
I
don't
just
know if
want
they're appropriate for Love and Reload,
yeah,
but
tell me some stories from the firehouse. We got some people checking in here on the book. Brian from First Tech, hashtag frontline. Yeah, respect. Thank you. Appreciation.
uh-oh. I think Ben froze again. Goodness gracious. I don't have enough material to cover all these gaps. I got you.
All right, so we're back. I'm back. You didn't go anywhere, right, Ryan?
My screen still moves. I still move.
So that means you're still live, so you can talk to people. So when I dip out, it's your time to be like that first responder's got to
Right.
kick in an emergency and give my show some CPR because it's rough out here, man. Okay. We got Sarah says, "Hi Ryan, thank you for your service." Now, are you getting? Is it kind of weird? Like everybody coming up to you and being like super appreciative, or
Out and about, as we are allowed to go out and about because we don't really much anymore. we've seen a great outpouring of people bringing donations of food and things to the station. But when you are out and about, it's almost like people see you in uniform and they're afraid of you because they think you're dirty. So there is a bit of a stigma that goes with that, but in reality, we're probably cleaner than the phone that they have in their hand. So we take it very seriously, and we've had several protocols come out and changing constantly in the last few weeks that keep us safe, and we're pretty confident in those. Froze again. Hand hygiene, super important. We're going to talk a lot about that today. We'll probably talk about what COVID is and how you get it. I want to have Ben come back for that because Ben has young children and I want him to get that information also.
That was an excellent anecdote, Ryan. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Seriously, Ryan, you thought you were going to be a guest. You're actually going to host the show right here.
The directions say you should plug into the Ethernet cable and not rely on wireless. Just saying, not everyone reads the directions.
Yeah. So, okay, we got some questions coming in here. This is a non-COVID question. Simon Johns says, was your best man speech rubbish? He's in the UK.
Oh, what is the opposite of rubbish? It was pure gold. There's been times when we watch our wedding video and I got to rewind to watch it again. So it was super special to me. And I know it was super special to everyone that was there too. So no, opposite of rubbish.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. I was so
You're
nervous.
welcome.
It was so funny when I gave that. You're a boot. I'm gonna tell a story, guys.
Of the English language.
This was like 2 years ago. This was 2 years ago. I had never given a best man speech. Of all the people and friends and everybody that I have and everything, I'm proud to call friends and family. Nobody had ever asked me to be a best man in their wedding. So I just had Achilles surgery. I ruptured my Achilles that February. The wedding was like June, May, something like that. March. Yeah.
It was very soon after your surgery, about 2 weeks, I believe.
I ruptured my Achilles. I wasn't supposed to fly. I was not cleared to fly. I was double dosing on the Coumadin. Okay. And so I didn't get deep vein thrombosis. All right. And I'm in a walking boot and I'm trying to I got to walk up the stairs of this church, and everything. And I'm standing for like a prolonged period of time up there with them. And then we get to the ceremony and they want to do dances. Everybody comes out. We do dances and everything. And I almost fall. I'm on a scooter. I'm like kicking a scooter. I almost fall, So at that point, I was on a lot of painkillers. I was trying to just maintain. Anyway, so I did my best, and I'm happy I could be there with you and Amber and honor you there. All right, so let's see here. We got some more comments coming in. Hang in there, gentlemen, with the tech issues. We're not going anywhere. Thanks for the content. Appreciate you, Brian. Thanks for hanging in there. Okay, we got 14 people on LinkedIn. We got another 7 on Facebook. Please leave a comment here. Janet says, Ryan mentioned that first responders being cleaner than the phones they are holding. Can he touch on that and what we should do to keep our phones clean?
Well, if you can find sanitizing wipes, they help not just for phones, but all the commonly touched surfaces. What we're finding is that coronavirus is a very weak virus, and that doesn't mean its transmittability between persons. It means how we can kill it when it's on a surface. So any cleaner, you could probably kill this stuff with Windex. So if you have a paper towel and you have bleach or you have any sort of cleaner, even soap and water, that can help. So
we were hearing early on that alcohol was the only thing that they could prove that could kill it, and now we're finding that it's not as difficult to sanitize. Is what you're saying?
Right. If it was that hard, then why would we be using only soap and water on our hands? Soap to lift and the hot water as hot as you can stand to kill whatever pathogens are there.
So I got a question, right? So I use sanitizer. I go out to Kroger or something. I use sanitizer, on my
Mhm.
hands before and after. People say it's actually better to wash with soap and water than using sanitizer. What do you think?
Well, in the day to day with COVID, hand sanitizer is sufficient. As soon as you get back to your home environment, uh, you can, and you have access to soap and water, then use soap and water. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with Purell. There's nothing wrong with soap and water. Either one works as effectively as the other. One of them is much more portable. So,
Got it.
the important part, and I'll go ahead and just get into it now, is that you have to realize when going out into the store that if you don't have Purell, then you're not going to touch your face the entire time that you go out. These viruses have evolved over time. Coronavirus is a common cold strain of virus. It's a bigger, badder, goes straight to the lungs, common cold. They've evolved over time to take advantage of the fact that us humans like to touch our face. That's how we transmit it. We touch a surface that's infected, we come into contact with a person that's infected, and we touch our mucous membranes, which is your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. That's how you get it. And if you can disassociate the psychological connection that we all have, because you do it without thinking. I've probably done it
Right.
4 or 5 times just in this video.
I know it makes me cringe every time, Ryan.
I'm in my home environment. I know my surfaces are clean and no one here is sick. So I'm okay with that. But as soon as you get outside that home environment, you have to think about, are your hands clean? Can you touch your face?
So I want to give some shout outs to some people that are checking in right now. And then I want to go off that because I have questions about masks and face touching and face protection.
Of course.
And I mean, I'm a handsome man, and wearing a mask outside is very devastating to me. I'll be honest with you. Just kidding, everybody. These are the jokes. All right, people. These are the jokes. All right. All right. Molly Feldman, Molly from Jacksonville. Hey, Molly. Look, we got the Vills in the house there. Little known fact: Ryan's from Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Quirk, hello from the Finger Lakes region of New York. Throwing a little geography in there. Appreciate you, Quirk. Molly Feldman, the isolation is getting to me. I spell my name wrong. She respells it Molly. So it was Molly at first, and now it's Molly. So, interesting. I prefer Molly. Tim Quirk, Ben froze. Yes, it's cold here in Michigan. Danny Herskowitz, hello from New Jersey. Hey, Danny. Christopher Lance, Ryan, that's your quo. That's your cue. I think it means Q. That's your cue. Yeah, if I go out, Ryan, this is on you, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
Michael Diana, international moving during the day, volunteer firefighter in New Jersey during my free time. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but New Jersey, many of New Jersey's fire departments are volunteer. My uncles actually serve in a volunteer fire department up in Middletown, New Jersey, as well.
Throughout the country, I think somewhere around 75% of all firefighters are volunteers.
Wow, I did not know that. Going back to that hero thing too, I mean, that makes it even that much. Does that mean they're unpaid, Ryan?
It means that they volunteer their time. Sometimes there is a stipend per call, but it's minimal. It's nothing that you can live off of. It's just
not worth running into a burning building over.
Thanks for your time. Here's $50. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Wow! Shout out to the firefighters who do it for free a lot of times. That's incredible. And there's like a wait list too in some areas to be a firefighter.
A lot of times, yeah. And sometimes those are for the paid positions. It's very competitive, so there's a lot of talent on the market.
Yeah. Ahmad Wasti, hello from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Awesome. Send some salmon. Sandra Clary, shout out to my cousin at Vicky Clary Swain with Fairfax, Virginia County Fire, and her husband, Glenn Swain, Loudoun County Fire. Huge thanks to our first responders. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Really. Jonathan Farmer, hello from Dallas. Patrick Dodson, go first responders. Yeah, tag somebody that you know that's a first responder. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, whatever, give them a little shout out. Let them know you're thinking about them because
they need it right. They do. They need it right now.
I mean, how do you wake up every day? This will be a question I'm just going to ask you. I mean, do you find it hard? I mean, I know this is a sensitive question, but do you find it hard to get out of bed every day knowing that you're going to be going into something that a lot of people think is kind of depressing, is kind of, plus it's scary? I mean, do you find it hard to do that?
At first, I did. There was a lot of unknowns when this all first started. Our protocols were in their infancy, and not a lot of research was available on COVID. So, but as things have evolved and as things have we've got some more data back, I feel a lot more confident, and I don't mind. I feel safe. I know that as long as I follow the rules, that there's 100% chance that I'm not going to bring this back to my family.
You feel that strongly? You feel like there's 100% chance? Because I look at it, and if I'm scared to go into Kroger, right, and we'll talk more about my precautions and probably what I need to be doing, but you know, and you're dealing with people that you know have the virus, they're breathing. I mean, you feel that confident though that you can avoid getting contaminated? I mean,
We
how
do,
do
and
you get that confidence?
I could go into a little bit of the specifics of what our protocols actually have us do. And the first thing is to slow down. In 911, we're often go, 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 get there as fast as we can, treat, get to the hospital as fast as we can, right? Not so much the case with these. Our dispatch center is asking targeted questions to see who is at risk or who might be a COVID patient. And when that happens, we respond actually non-emergency. We don't use lights and sirens to get there. When we get there, we take our time to don our PPE, which includes a complete coverall from head to toe, goggles, like ski goggles that seal out everything.
So are you like in like one of those like hazmat suit looking things?
It is a hazmat suit looking thing. It isn't a full hazmat suit, rubber with the respirator and everything, because we don't have that equipment. That's very expensive. But you don't need that. What you need is something to cover your surface, something to protect your airway. You need to remember to not touch your face once you've donned your PPE and touch the patient. And then we take it slow. Instead of giving patients breathing treatments if they're having trouble breathing in the ambulance, we do it outside their house in the open air, because that's an aerosolizing procedure. We don't want to have that in the ambulance in a contained environment where it's more likely that we're going to inhale something and possibly become exposed. We make every patient wear a mask. Every patient, regardless of their complaint, wears a mask. So there's a lot of things that we've done that give me confidence to know that as long as I follow the steps and follow the rules to the T, that there's 0% chance that I become infected.
God bless you, brother.
Pretty confident.
Let's see here. Going to the comments again. Got some great stuff coming in here. Sandra Clary says, for those not familiar with someone on a fire squad, not a firing squad, that's a very important distinction. It would be interesting for them to hear the breadth of calls that firefighters respond to. They truly are the first responders for a huge variety of needs, and their skills are so much more than just fires. Amazing. Yeah, you want to tell real quick, because you are a firefighter paramedic, and I think that's interesting.
That is very true.
I don't even know the full distinction there, and tell us a little bit what that means, quickly.
So what she's talking about is fire calls versus medical calls, to boil it down to the brass tacks of it. Mm-hmm. And fire calls being anything from smoke detector went off because somebody burned their bacon, or a house that's fully involved, or a commercial business that's got a kitchen fire going on. Mm-hmm. That accounts for only 5% of the calls that are responded to by the fire service industry.
Like an actual fire?
Actual fire related
5%? Wow.
Smoke investigations, gas leaks, actual buildings on fire, people needing rescue, only 5% of the calls. The other 95% are all medical in nature.
Wow.
So that's where our industry has gone, and that's where actually a lot of our training is in responding to medical emergencies.
Wow. Incredible.
Yep.
And is that because like the police are there for, safety and crimes and things like that, but the ambulances and stuff are privatized, correct? So
It
this is
depends
the
on your area. My specific agency is a municipal run. It's run by the county, and that's the way we are. But if you go up to Pinellas County, say where you used to live, there was Sunstar, and Sunstar was a third party private company that ran primary 911 calls.
so firefighters though handle the medical emergencies. Is that
They
accurate?
can, yes. There's always an ambulance that responds to every medical emergency, but then the fire department is there to provide support and depending on the level of the call, we go to Alpha through Echo. Alpha being a stubbed toe to Echo being a cardiac arrest where someone's heart's not beating and they're not breathing on their own. The fire department is dispatched to Charlie Delta Echoes, the more serious ones.
All right. Look at you, Charlie Delta Echo, man. Oh my goodness. All right, you're worrying that I don't want to be on anywhere on that scale. I don't even want an alpha, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get through the day without an alpha right now.
Be careful.
I know these kids are trying to alpha me left and right. Simon Johns, is it correct that firefighters are trained as paramedics as well? He's in the UK.
Some are, some aren't. I believe over in the UK, all of them are, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he can shed some light on that. But in the United States, it depends on your area. For instance, in Tampa, all paramedics or all the firefighters are required to be certified as a paramedic within 2 years of their hire date.
Okay.
Down here, we have firefighters that aren't paramedics. They're at least a EMT basic.
Okay.
So there is a distinction level there.
Now I got a question. I want to get back to me selfishly here. Okay. So I'm going to Kroger, right? My wife's got me going out there every 4 days because she forgot to get enough Lunchables, right? So I'm going out there, and I'm wearing a mask. I should find this mask. I was wearing a bandana, like stick 'em up style, and now I'm wearing a cloth mask that some lady somewhere knit for me or sewed for me that my mom sent me.
Okay.
I think it's a Batgirl and Superwoman mask if you're familiar with the brand. And so so that's what it is. Is that sufficient, or am I just fooling myself?
So let me ask you a question to that. In your mind, when you go out to the store, what do you think that the mask is doing for you?
I believe that the mask is protecting other people from if I were to cough or breathe, maybe I'm a carrier or maybe I have it pre-symptoms or asymptomatic, and I'm still maintaining 6 to 10 or 12, as much as possible feet away from people. I'm still trying not to touch surfaces, although I do find myself using my hands sometimes, but I do carry sanitizer in my pocket.
Okay.
And I don't know.
So you said that you're protecting other people from you coughing. That's very unselfish of you. I want you to know, and that is important. Okay. I think you've been at home at least for 2 or 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. You're feeling healthy. Everybody in your family's feeling healthy. I can almost guarantee that you don't have COVID. Now, I'll answer the question this way. Most people think that the masks are to prevent us from inhaling things, and that's true when you wear the medical grade, the N90, what you hear people calling the N95 masks.
Yeah,
it's completely unnecessary. The only time that a N95 mask is necessary is in a hospital setting where you have patients on ventilators, you're having to perform suction on their airway, or you're having to give them breathing treatments, things that are aerosolizing the virus, getting it airborne. For us lay people, or when we're just going to the store, and you want to protect yourself, all you need is something to cover your face, whether it's a bandana or a homemade mask or just a simple surgical mask. That's fine, because the key point to those is not to touch your face. All it is a reminder that when we're outside of our home environment, we're in something foreign to us, and we're touching surfaces that we can't account for, then we shouldn't touch our hands or touch our face out of an abundance of caution.
Okay.
Most surfaces.
So the key is not touching the face. So wear something.
Wear
something.
something.
It has to be an N95. Just wear something over your face and don't touch your face. And don't wear something that's like halfway down the dairy aisle. It's sagging now. And now I got to like lift it back up over here, because then I just defeated the entire purpose. Right?
Yeah, make it secure. We found actually that that trimming facial hair helps a great deal, because us men, when we have the facial hair, they go downward. So they want to work masks downward, and they continue to do that when we move our mouth, or if you're chewing gum under there, you're gonna work that mask down slowly.
Right. Or like me, I'll be talking on the phone while I'm in there with my little earbud or whatever. I try to do too much out there. I got.
But at the end of the day, if you could practice at home, do whatever you need to do to disassociate the inherent connection that we have between our hands and face. You can go to the store and touch all you want, and then just scratch your nose elsewise, and not have to worry about it.
But
That's
what
it.
about the idea that people are coming in and they're shedding all their clothes when they come in, because people they have aerosolized droplets on their clothing, and now I'm like kind of like doing one of these numbers or whatever. Am I not being safe?
So the only time that I would change my clothes when I came home from Publix is if somebody without a mask sneezed or coughed on me or touched me. And that's something that I can't account for. If I'm keeping my social distancing, I'm only touching things with my hands. I'm not brushing up against people. I feel safe with not shedding my clothes. I've not had to do that yet, except when I come home from work. Obviously, we're actually taking our clothes off before we leave work, showering there, and then coming home in street clothes. So different office environment.
I don't suggest all of you do that at work, depending on where you work, but we got some comments here. Hey, if you're watching this right now, again, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, hit this there's a little green little hand clap button over here. Hit those applause buttons, a celebration button right now. Just go ahead and hit that and smash that thing for all the first responders and all the frontline people, all the healthcare professionals. Really, please just give them. I would love to see on the video thing. I just want to see everybody going for that thing, because again, I think you guys all deserve a round of applause. Kristen McLaughlin, shout out to Kristen, says thank you, first responders. My college roommate Sarah Talent Chase is a PA in the ER for an Atlanta area hospital. Just returned from helping in New York City. Superhero. God bless you, for real. Out in New York City, they're doing something so cool. I know you've probably seen it on social media, but I'd like to challenge everybody to do this with your kids. I think it's a great teachable moment. At 7 o'clock in New York City, what they're doing for shift changes is they're kind of going out on the balconies, or they're going outside their home. They're making a ruckus. They're cheering. They're whistling. They're banging pots and pans. They're doing whatever, just the honking horns, just as a sign of support out there. For the folks that are coming on shift change for, like, say, hospitals. And I think that'd be so cool if we did that everywhere in the US. You know, if we all just went out on our back deck or our front porch or whatever and went out and just cheered and whooped and hollered. I think it'd be a little weird maybe the first day. But I think if we just all started doing that, because every single day these people make a decision to go to work and to put their life on the line and expose themselves and their families to save others who, frankly, sometimes don't even, help themselves, but they're out there helping others. And I just think everybody deserves such recognition on a daily basis. That's my rant, Ryan, about that.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging in there, buddy. Tim Nowak, greetings from Denver, the Mile High City. A big thank you to all of our first responders, especially those volunteers giving of their time, talent, and treasure. You trying to see what he's doing in the picture?
We just hired a guy, Tim Novak, came from Denver. was a first responder there. I'm wondering if it's the
Oh.
same guy.
No, this guy's a realtor out there. He's a relocation realtor.
Okay.
He's a friend of the show, been on a couple times. Let's see here. Hi, Ben and Ryan. Thanks for keeping us safe. Question: how realistic is the show Chicago Fire?
I can't even watch it. I can't even. I can't even
Why?
watch it.
Why?
There's bits and pieces, but maybe only 10% is real life. The rest is Hollywood, as with everything else.
What part? What part is real?
Like I said, I can't even watch it, so I don't.
Fire is a real thing. It happens on wood, sometimes other
Yeah.
objects. That's
Fuel and
funny.
oxygen. There you go.
You know, you just ruined like Jason's whole
I'm so
room
sorry.
chill situation. Anthony Walmsley, hey Ben, how are you, man? From sunny UK. Anthony, I hope you're hanging in there. I hope your army ants moving is doing well. I know you're moving hospital wards out there. You're on site. Again, you know, we talk about essential employees here in the U.S. Moving has been deemed essential. People ask me all the time, is it really? There's parts and aspects of it that are. What Anthony and his company are doing out in the UK is essential. And I applaud all the other movers that are out there doing logistics services for hospital systems and for folks that absolutely do have to move equipment and gear
How many
around.
orders have you taken this week?
So last week I got 4 initiations for national account relocations, right? And
So
normally
people need to move.
I would have 4 times that amount, and all those initiations are for into the future. Honestly, they're May, they're June, they're July, they're TBD. Just want to get on the books, you know. So it's kind of a weird time right
It's the
now to move.
perfect thing to do from home.
What is book moves with Ben?
Book moves for
Yeah,
the
call
future.
me. I'm chilling. I'm right here, y'all. Call me. Michael, Diana, talking about the what do firefighters get paid? We got a small clothing allowance. Then I'm a lieutenant, so I get a big $300 extra for that. I'd need my day job. Smiley face. Anthony Walmsley looking dapper. Ben, yes, I am. Thank you very much. Patrick Dodson, Fort Worth Fire Department, strong, representing with firefighters' finest moving. Hey, shout out to Patrick and the guys out in Fort Worth. For those of you who don't know, Patrick Dodson and his company, Firefighters Finest, actually won the AMSA award for Independent Mover of the Year. I want to say it was last year or the year before, but it's actually a moving company that was started by firefighters who started as part time. They did part time fire and part time moving, and it's actually grown into a very nice moving company out there. And they're actually hosting the American Moving and Storage Association's Independent Mover Conference in Fort Worth, knock on wood, in November. So hopefully I get out there and see you guys. Jamie Massler, hi guys, cheers from sunny Mississippi. Katie Lenahan, friends, she has friends that are nurses that are so positive here in Connecticut. They are amazing. Yeah, they are, Katie. Thanks for shouting them out. Tag them. Tag them. Go ahead, tag a friend. Jamie Massler, so respect our first responders. Thank you, Jamie, for saying so. Tim Quirk asks, as we're talking about percentage of fire calls, Tim's a funny guy. Tim says, what percentage of calls is a cat stuck in a tree?
As close as you can get to zero without actually being zero.
Thank you for answering that very, very ridiculous question with a very serious answer.
We've deduced that if a cat can get into a tree, he can probably get himself out.
Do you guys
So
do you guys just not even show up to those calls? Like just, or you send the rookie out and be like, hey, we got another cat.
I don't even know what they do. I've not heard that call come in. However, if I was going to make the dispatch card, I would say, how many days has the cat been in the tree? If it's only today, we're going to wait.
Stop bugging him. Leave him alone. Patrick Dotson, great job explaining the topics. He is well informed and qualified. Patrick says that as a one firefighter to another. Okay, so what in the world? Okay, Denise has a question. I've never heard this question. This is interesting. Um, Denise King, who appears, I think, to work for this company or has a question in this regard. Can we use titanium spray to destroy coronaviruses? Scientists say titanium spray and masks can kill the new coronavirus COVID-19 and the old one SARS You can fact check it yourself in these articles. She includes links for increased protection. Rinse off your clothes with natural virus off titanium disinfectant. Sounds a bit like a plug, but have you heard of this product at all?
I've not heard of titanium spray. I know that some in the past we've used heavy metals such as silver as an antimicrobial, but I've not heard anything about titanium. I can't speak to that without further research.
It's a good answer. I want to make like a tough acting, Tinactin joke or something. I don't know. I know they're different things and products, but it seems like a interesting. Okay, thank you, Denise. Simon Johns,
if you have bleach, do you have bleach?
Spray yourself in the eyes with bleach and see if that works. No, just kidding. We gotta have some fun here. We can't just be so serious, right? Everything about coronavirus can't be like a bummer, right? Instead, let's make bleach in the eye jokes. All right, Simon Johns, 8 p.m. every Thursday is go out on your doorstep and clap for the NHS. I think that's the National Health Service, I believe. I'm not sure. In the UK. So in the UK at 8 p.m. they do that. They work just an extra hour, it looks like. Hold on, I'm getting some problems with my comments. Go ahead and leave a comment, leave a question. I want to answer them live. Ryan, we talk about silver linings. That's one of the things I like to focus on here. I'm trying to stay positive, right? And I think we're sufficiently into this thing where, maybe it's time we can actually start looking toward the future. But what kinds of silver lining things have you seen personally or professionally coming out of this coronavirus?
I think that a silver lining is going to play out in the future. Actually, you look at China. China's become a mask society. They wear masks regularly every day when they leave their house.
We had Adam McWhirter. I'm just going to say this. We had Adam McWhirter last week from China. He has an office in Wuhan. And he said China is a mask culture. And that's just a culture that they have. You're saying.
And good, because that's where I got that information from watching that video. But I think what's important for Americans is to realize that, this COVID-19 is what's popular now. That's what's happening. It's happening to us. But this same personal hygiene and anti-transmission, social distancing, all the things that we're learning to deal with coronavirus can be applied to the flu also. Can be applied to the common cold. If you're sick, stay home. If your grandma lives with you, find different arrangements. When you're sick, wash your hands, clean surfaces. I think it's a big wake-up call and a learning experience for a lot of Americans that this is how we should be living throughout every flu season, keeping our distance and just not losing the human contact. It's something that we all need. Don't look at people in the grocery store like they're your enemy. If anything, reach out and be friendlier. Just watch the contact.
Well, here's a question for you. Are we ever going to shake hands again? Are we ever going to hug each other again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like you may be leading to have we seen the curve round over yet? And as we get closer and closer to that, yes, there's going to be boundaries lifted. Look at our situation. You feel healthy. You've been in your house. No one has symptoms. You should be 99.9% positive that you're not infected. Have your parents been responsible? Have they been limiting their social circle?
No, my mom went and got her hair done like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, why are you going to get your hair done? She's like, well, she has one last appointment. My roots are showing. I'm like, Mom, you need to stay home. Like you need to stay home.
If she's been healthy for that last 2 weeks, then fine, go home and hug your mom. There's nothing
all
wrong.
These people are running around asymptomatic. I got to ask about this, Ryan. the aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt, right? They had 600 and something people tested positive. For no 480, I want to say tested positive. 60% of those people were asymptomatic. Then there's this report that comes out in Boston at a homeless shelter. They tested 98% of the people there had it, but none of them were showing symptoms. Now, was it too early? I don't know. I don't know what happened since I got that like a week ago. So maybe they started showing symptoms. Maybe it was just in the incubation period, or maybe there was some sort of immunity. Maybe they had it already. My point is, I mean, Fauci comes out and says 25 to 50% may be asymptomatic. Then we see 60% on the Theodore Roosevelt ship. What percentage of the population is running around with this or has had this that we don't even know about? I mean, maybe I'm good. I got kind of a scratchy throat, I'm could be allergies, or maybe I got the COVID on the low. I don't know, but I may go out of Kroger, breathe on somebody and give them the disease, and I didn't even know that I had it. I mean, that to me is kind of like the what
It's
we
scary.
don't know that scares the
Yeah.
hell out of me, to be honest with you. I mean, what do you think about the asymptomatic
So
suffering?
if you've been asymptomatic for 2 weeks and you haven't, and you've been following the rules, the not touching your face, the not touching foreign surfaces to you, and then infecting or exposing yourself, then chances are you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And what it takes to get COVID-19 is prolonged prolonged exposure, which is 15 to 30 minutes in a closed room, with someone who is either infected or will start showing or is going to be
Shedding the
infected.
virus or has it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're either infected or they're going to start showing symptoms in 2 days, 2 or 3 days, which means they're infected, but they just don't know it yet.
Okay.
And it all goes back to following the rules. Symptomatic, asymptomatic, it doesn't matter. As long as you're following the rules, you're good for your family.
Okay. All right. I've got some questions, some comments coming in here. I've got some fun ones. I've got some serious ones. Let's see here. Janet says this, and this goes back to what does our interactions look like? Before you were saying, train yourself at home not to touch your face so that when you're outside, you don't have an impulse to do this uncontrollably, right? And this is also kind of where I go with the handshakes, right? Because there's that saying it takes 22 days to make a habit or something, or 21 days to make a habit, whatever. Well, we're here and we're in lockdown for 60 days. We've formed habits. Maybe some of the good habits, you don't touch your face. Maybe some of the bad habits are don't hug people, don't look them in the eye. We're wearing masks. We're not shaking hands. I mean, she has a hard time looking people in the eye when wearing a mask or looking at people wearing a mask. I seriously hope you do not become a mask country. And how do you even have, I'm doing this with you right now. How do you even know if I'm smiling, frowning? It's hard to pick up body language. I mean, things like that, right? So,
Yeah.
how does this change our go forward? In your opinion, I know you're not a culture expert or a sociologist, but do you have any thoughts on that?
Try to convey emotion with your inflection in your voice and your eyes, I guess.
Doing this, we start like start doing American Sign Language of people, and like
sometimes when someone says a little quip, I have to tell them I'm smiling under my mask.
LOL.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I don't see America becoming a mask society or a mask culture anytime soon. I think that we're far too uncomfortable with it, and a lot of people are just getting acne from it, and that's going to be enough.
So, well, but then you get the mask, and you got to cover it. You got to keep it covered because you got the acne. I mean,
right? Yeah.
But so then we also have Janet coming in with a more interesting kind of fun. She loves making her own tinctures and her own things at home. Okay. And it is important to note. I think what she's saying here is that alcohol is still the active ingredient here.
Okay.
And thyme is nice.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we don't just go thyme oil here.
I've not done any research into the essential oil spectrum. I will say that from what you see out there, that the essential oil folks have been suspiciously quiet during the COVID scare. This is the first. This is the first that I've heard of it. I'm surprised that nobody's come up with a lemongrass, whatever, lavender cure.
I like how you're trolling the natural cure people over here. That's
I said, but they will call it a cure with zero scientific data to back it up, without trying to troll too hard. That's
yeah, you're going in. You're going in right now.
It's all numbers. It's what can you prove? So
okay. All right.
Give me data. I'd love to see it.
Okay, we're gonna take a lighter turn here now. Sandra Clary says, "How about the stories behind the impressive Stein collection behind Ryan?" You got to give the people what they want.
This is going to be interesting. This is honestly, I'm glad you asked, because this right here was my first Stein in the collection, and that's one that Ben and myself made together. I'll bring it forward.
Yeah, bring it forward.
So there was a time when Ben and I had a lot of extra time on our hands, and
actually, let me tee this up here, because this is a very important story. I actually told this story at his wedding. This is, Ryan and I were friends before, but this is, I think, where we became super close. I had lost my job. I was unemployed. And as people out there actually facing this right now, being furloughed, laid off, etc., as you know, when you're unemployed, you have feelings of worthlessness, and you have identity issues, and you have all of these problems, not to mention not getting money and all these things, right? And then, of course, you have all this time to think about it, right? And feel kind of like, what am I doing with myself? And Ryan's schedule was such that he'd have these work schedules where he'd have days off and everything, because he was an EMT, I think it was at the time. And so anyway, and he had this great pool, and we were in Tampa, right? And so we'd spend all this time together, basically trying to, hanging out at the pool, but also we'd go to this art studio, this clay studio called the Muddy Potter, which was at the flea market in Oldsmar. And we would just do so much clay and pottery. And there you go, Ryan, tee it up.
And so after those pottery nights, we looked for a place to go get beers.
Yes, that's right.
It's the natural progression of a night between two bachelors on the town. This place that we found, I can't even remember the name of it. I challenge you to remember it.
It was like Beer Garden or something like that.
Who knows? Yeah. They had a special on Thursdays or something where you could bring in any mug and they'd fill it for $4. So being right across the street from a pottery studio, and us being new pottery aficionados, we took it upon ourselves to construct the largest beer mugs that we could possibly spin on that wheel.
Because I'm unemployed over here, and we're like, yo, we got to stretch this $4 beer's got to last us all night, so we got to go big.
This project took several tries and ended up taking 3 months of total time, but it can fit 1.5 liters of beer.
Hey, bring it close to the camera. Show everybody.
Closer to 2 liters than anything. And I scribed my family crest in it and the motto. And Ben actually helped me with the twisted handle. It's great. It holds a lot of beer, and it's ceramic, so it keeps it nice and cold. And we gave them a run for their money. I know you probably still have yours, Big Red.
I got the red one. Yep, mine was big. Actually, Ryan's was I think Ryan did his after mine, and his was actually thinner on the side, so it was smart because it was so dang heavy, especially when it's full of beer. It's like ridiculously heavy. So yeah, mine actually has a slight crack in the bottom. It's still, you still drink out of it, but yeah, we made those together. So great question, Sandra. That was awesome, dude. Thank you.
The rest of them just came from wherever I bought, flea markets and whatnot. When I find them, I buy them.
Yeah, super awesome. Jamie Massler says, we just had a series of tornadoes come through Mississippi heading east last week. It was 2 miles wide and created massive destruction. devastation. Sorry. How do you all react to situations like this during the COVID era? I couldn't even imagine.
The same way that we would any other time. However, we'll probably just be wearing a mask and goggles,
Yeah.
but the
Just more
same way,
PPE. Yeah.
more PPE. Yep.
Brad Hamlin, whose wife Chemaine was supposed to be on here, but due to technical difficulties, she couldn't be. She's fantastic. She's a nurse. She's another hero. I tell you what. I mean, the stuff she sees too in the oh gosh, in the hospital.
Yeah, we see the patient for maybe an hour total time. They see the patient for several days, weeks. That's a much more risky exposure. So
Well, and sometimes they have to watch the results, right? And they're not always positive,
right.
And Janet comes in, of course. Janet comes in with a running joke. Jamie's a weatherman. Every time Jamie checks in, it's from sunny Mississippi, cloudy Mississippi, tornado devastated Mississippi, whatever
Right.
it is. He's got the news for you. I love it. Love you, Jamie. All right, Brad Hamlin checking in here. Brad says, um, "What are your thoughts about some state governors reopening their state? Good idea? Bad idea? Something we're dealing with here in Michigan."
Yeah, I've seen the protests. Without getting too political, the president has left that up to the governors to decide, right? Um, it's up to each governor to look at their curve, to look at their test results, to look at the density of their population, to find out what's best for their city. I mean, look at the areas that are most hard hit by COVID. Down here in Florida, where do you think they are? Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville. Up there, it's Detroit.
Detroit.
It's New York City. It's the densely populated areas. They have a great responsibility to protect their people from a relapse, and to see their numbers go back up. It's not what you want to see. Historically, when people or when a population is on the down curve, it's a sawtooth curve. It's not a straight line. It kind of goes up and down and up and down. We're in that now, and we want to keep those peaks as low as possible so that it can go even lower the next time it dips. And that's what the governors. It's very challenging. I don't envy being in that position. There's any number of thousands of variables that probably go into a decision like that. I trust that they are listening to their Department of Health, doing adequate testing, which is something that's been talked about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the
Only,
testing, right? So, like, what are some of the things you'd like to see as a person that responds to these medical emergencies? What's something you would like to see, or a couple indicators or things that you would look for, um, when making that decision?
well, what I'd really like to see is a lab test that takes less than an hour, a point of care test to show me whether or not someone has COVID-19. That'd be ideal. And then I'd like to see that test in abundance, available to anyone who needed it. If we could test anyone that had a fever, anyone that had a cough or a sore throat, that'd be fantastic.
And
We have that.
when you say lab test, why is it important that you have a lab test? Why do you say lab test as opposed to what other kind of test?
Uh, I guess the word lab is arbitrary in this. Any test that's going to be performed in a lab setting. A point of care test is something that can be swabbed in the patient's nose or mouth, and then you can put it in a cassette or put it in a machine, and it tests it right there where the patient is. So doctor's offices, emergency rooms, wherever people go, we've been opening up drive-through testing centers.
Yeah. See, I would love to see that. I mean, I think if you turned every CVS, every Walgreens, every school, whatever you want to call it, into a drive-through type of a testing facility, and you just basically mandated the entire population go through it, and then who's got it, where it is, and then you can have a way forward. I feel like right now we're kind of blind. We don't know how many asymptomatic carriers are. We don't know if it's because they already had it and developed immunity to it and it's testing positive for antibodies that existed from
And
prior infection, or if they're
that
still infectious.
that actually adds another caveat. The people that have already shed the virus, have been infected, were asymptomatic, and never experienced any symptoms, or they would need a whole different type of test, which is called an antibody test.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking, in this case, we're not looking for the active virus. We're looking for your body's response to the active virus. Totally different thing.
And we don't know if you can get it again, because they're saying in South Korea,
Right.
they're seeing people get reinfected. So we're operating, all this conversation is under the pretense of you develop immunity and you don't get the same disease twice.
There is an
But
antibody. There is
if
an antibody.
so, how do we explain, or how do we reconcile the fact that it appears that people are getting it twice in certain cases? Did they never have it to begin with? Has it mutated? Was it a false positive the first time? Is it a false positive the second time? I'd like some clarity around that as well.
Unfortunately, I can't offer it, but what they would need to do is uh, deeply investigate the testing procedure and deeply investigate that individual's personal history, who they've come into contact with, what their social circle looks like. Have they come into anybody else with contact? Is it really bad in their community? There's a lot of things to look at there. If they had two positive test results and two different illnesses, that would need to be looked into on an individual basis.
Is there anything that's coming down the pipe in the next month or two that excites you as far as a breakthrough? Is there a test? Is there a certain type of a treatment? Is there a vaccine? Is there a procedure or any kind of an advancement that you're looking forward to that you think might be some sort of a breakthrough or a game changer for us?
There is that less than an hour POC testing coming. However, questionable of what its availability is going to be and how much it costs. The treatments right now are treatments that we use for other viruses, such as malaria, that basically just affect the way that viruses replicate in the human body. They should have shown some promise, but there's a lot more data yet to be gathered on that. The most promising thing is that, again, Americans have seen this as a wake-up call, and they're going to start taking infectious disease a little bit more seriously. When we go through flu season, like we do every year, now the question is going to be, oh, well, is this coronavirus? And it wouldn't surprise me if seasonally we saw, these these cities become mass cultures, and we start taking everything more seriously. It's social distancing season.
Yeah.
Gotta wait till summer to vacation with the fam.
Speaking of summer vacation, Molly Feldman in Jacksonville has a question here. Molly Feldman says, a quick word on, quote, opening the beaches, end quote, in Jacksonville. There are strict limits. The hours are limited. The activities are limited. Social distancing is enforced. Thoughts on that?
I'd say that's good. I know that these cities have a great tourism draw in their beaches. That's something that they want to have open. They want to have, kids aren't in school. Families are bored. If they want to go to the beach, they should be able to go to the beach. Fine. But you must be responsible. And there probably needs to be some sort of way to enforce that. Maybe law enforcement can have more of a presence and make sure that people aren't gathering in groups of more than 10 or 6 or whatever it is for your city's numbers, whatever the governor decides. I think that's good. I think it's healthy. I think it's good for Americans to get back to, or try to start getting back to, normal life, and doing it in a responsible, as clean as possible way.
Janet offered up this personal story. Her sister tested positive for COVID. She was very concerned because she has COPD. So far, her sister's been doing fantastic, praying no relapse. Yeah, our prayers are with you, Janet, and your sister and your
That's
family.
great. Yeah.
Janet, I think also your cousin also might have had it as well. Um, I think my wife's aunt has it, but actually they didn't test her. They did telemedicine, told her stay home, drink fluids, rest, but they didn't actually test her. She
Isolate
went
from the rest of your family.
she went 14 days. On day 15 was the first day she didn't have a fever. 14
Wow.
days with a fever. So she sounds like she's getting better. Um, but I mean, the fact that she was never even tested also concerns me about how many people are going untested. My friend Angelo, people that have watched this show, Angelo is the guy that does the lump sum and the rogue mover stuff with me. I hear he's made a couple appearances. Kid he went to high school with. I mean, Angelo's 24 years old. Kid he went to high school with died. You know,
I think Ben's frozen, and that brings an important thing to mind when people ask, when should I go to the hospital? People should only go to the hospital or go to their doctor when they can't breathe. So when you're short of breath, getting up to go to the bathroom, that's when it's time to seek care. Don't go to the emergency room or your doctor if you just have a fever or if you just have a cough. You got to have that shortness of breath component. If you can stay at home, stay at home. Isolate from your family. Have your own bedroom if you can. Have your own bathroom, definitely. Limit time with your family, and if you have to come out, try to wear a mask around your family, and make sure that you're cleaning surfaces regularly. All the
Ryan,
rules. Don't get your family sick.
Ryan, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you making time to answer all these questions for us. Is there anything that you want to leave people with who are watching this out there?
Let me check, make sure I hit all my bullet points.
It's like
Don't
a true
confuse.
CDC briefing.
Yeah. just don't worry too much. I see a lot of panic and a lot of worry. Follow the rules. Don't touch your face. If you're sick, take it easy and isolate. If you're feeling well within 1 or 2 days, then get back into life. And if you feel it helps you, wear a mask. If you are sick for more than 5 days, you may consider getting tested somehow or calling your doctor, seeing what they say. But just stay out of the healthcare system if you can. If you're short of breath, you have to. If not, you're only exposing yourself to potential more exposure by going to a hospital.
Mm-hmm. So. Good stuff. Ryan, thank you so much. Everybody stay safe out there. Stay home. Stay home, really, please. Stay home. Isolate yourself. Ryan, what Ryan was saying is don't worry. I think it's possible to stay home and not worry at the same time. In fact, that's how I worry the least, is when I stay home. So stay home, isolate yourself, and that's my take on it. And look for silver linings. Appreciate the life you have, all the blessings you have. Take time to reconnect with your family as well. We will be coming out of this. I would say don't rush it. We will be coming out of this, and let's just be smart out there. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Ryan, so much. Thank you for all the comments and questions. Thank all your first responders out there in your life. Take a moment, please. Tag them in this post. Send them this. Send them something else. Do something on Facebook. Just show love. There's no such thing as too much respect and admiration you can show for first responders. And I think I'm going to go out and scream like a crazy person at 7 o'clock tonight to thank everybody. So if you hear me, don't call the cops. Appreciate y'all. Love and real, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.